the modern dating world, ghosting has evolved into something more than a rude exit. It has become a silent revolution. It's the new emotional warfare tactic. In an age where communication is constant but connection is rare, you've probably felt it. That sudden shift from warmth to cold silence. One day she's texting you with affection, her words soft and engaging. The next she's gone. No fight, no closure, just digital emptiness. And here's the truth. Ghosting is not just a random act of cruelty. It's a reflection of the female psyche in the modern age. Shaped by freedom, fear, abundance, and emotional exhaustion, we're witnessing a psychological evolution where women are no longer walking away after closure. They're vanishing without explanation. But why? Why are women choosing disappearance over confrontation? Why has the art of conversation been replaced by silence? And why are so many men strong, loyal, emotionally invested, left feeling disposable? The answer lies not in what she says, but in what she feels about herself in the relationship. Because modern dating isn't about you versus her anymore. It's about her versus herself. In 2025, the female mind is overwhelmed by choices, expectations, and contradictions. She wants connection, but fears dependence. She desires depth, but is addicted to novelty. She seeks truth, but often chooses comfort. And when those conflicts collide, her defense mechanism becomes vanishing, not to hurt you, but to protect her sense of control. Ghosting is the illusion of power in a world where vulnerability feels like weakness. For her, silence is not avoidance, it's survival. It's the one move that lets her escape without appearing guilty, weak, or emotional. Because disappearing says, I owe you nothing. This is not about good women or bad women. This is about how modern society rewired feminine psychology. Social media, dating apps, and endless options have changed what commitment means. It's no longer sacred, it's strategic. Women are no longer investing emotionally. They're sampling emotionally, and when they feel your energy shifting, when you start expecting consistency, they cut off the signal. In this video, we'll decode why this is happening, what hidden psychological mechanisms drive it, and how men can rise above it, without falling into bitterness or confusion. Because the man who understands why she vanishes becomes the man who never chases shadows again. The modern dating landscape is rigged against connection. To understand ghosting, you have to understand the battlefield it's born from. Modern dating isn't organic, it's algorithmic. It's not based on real attraction. It's based on perception, dopamine, and illusion. Women today live in a psychological paradox. They crave emotional depth but are surrounded by unlimited superficiality. Every man online is a possibility, a maybe, a fantasy. Every swipe, every DM, every like. It feeds her sense of choice, not connection. She's not searching for the best man anymore. She's filtering for the perfect feeling, and that feeling is fleeting. Technology has made attraction faster but intimacy weaker. The more choices we have, the harder it is to value any of them. This is known as the paradox of choice, a term from psychology that explains why abundance breeds anxiety, not satisfaction. When women are presented with endless male attention, their brains start treating relationships like products, not people. The moment something feels uncertain, it's replaced, not repaired. That's why ghosting feels effortless. Because in her mind, she's not erasing a man, she's closing a tab. Modern dating has also turned vulnerability into a liability. Men who express emotions are often misread as weak or needy. Meanwhile, men who stay detached are seen as mysterious, confident, and high value. So women mirror that energy back. Coldness becomes currency. If she senses you're more invested than she is, her survival instinct triggers, pull back before I lose power. But beneath that instinct is fear of being used, betrayed, or seen as replaceable. Ironically, it's the same fear men feel when they're ghosted. Both genders are protecting their egos, but women have a socially acceptable way to do it: silence. In 2025, commitment is no longer the end goal for many women. Control is. Because in a world where attention is the new economy, control equals safety. If she feels in control, she feels valuable. And ghosting becomes the ultimate way to keep that control. It gives her the power to decide when something ends without facing the emotional cost of confrontation. This is why so many men are confused after being ghosted. They search for logic where emotion rules. They look for closure when the other person was never seeking connection in the first place. Ghosting isn't random. It's the inevitable product of a dating system built on dopamine, ego, and escape. You can't expect commitment in a world where everyone is afraid of vulnerability. You can't expect communication when silence feels safer than honesty. The truth, she's not ghosting you. She's ghosting the version of herself that feels too much, too soon, too deeply. She's ghosting the vulnerability she doesn't trust anymore. And that's why even good women, intelligent women, emotionally mature women are now disappearing without a word. Because modern dating isn't about finding love. It's about protecting yourself from pain. And ghosting is the new armor. Why women ghost and it's not what you think? Most men assume ghosting means she lost interest, met someone new, or was never serious. Sometimes that's true, but that's not the full story. Ghosting is not always a rejection of you. It's a rejection of discomfort. It's an avoidance of emotional confrontation, both with you and within herself. Psychologists link this behavior to avoidant attachment styles. People who crave closeness but panic when things get too real. For many modern women, independence is sacred. They've been raised to believe vulnerability equals weakness. So the moment they sense emotional dependency forming, even healthy dependency, they unconsciously sabotage it. They pull away to reassert autonomy. Ghosting becomes a way to reset emotional equilibrium. No fights, no tears, no explanations, just instant detachment. But underneath that independence is something deeper: fear of judgment. Women are more socially conditioned to appear kind, compassionate, and composed. Ending things directly could make them feel cruel or guilty. So instead they vanish, because silence allows plausible deniability. If I say nothing, I did nothing wrong. The female mind also reacts strongly to emotional incongruence. If she senses you're emotionally invested but not challenging her, giving her too much validation too early, she feels both secure and bored. That paradox triggers disengagement. She wants excitement, but she also wants to feel safe. Two impulses that rarely coexist. So when the connection tilts too far in one direction, she cuts it off before it destabilizes her self-image. Ghosting is her way of maintaining her emotional balance, even if it destroys yours. There's also the illusion of abundance. When she believes there are infinite better matches available online, leaving becomes easier. Why face emotional discomfort when she can open her phone and find instant distraction? Why explain her feelings when she can scroll them away? This is what modern psychology calls emotional short-circuiting, where the brain replaces emotional resolution with digital stimulation. It's not that she's heartless, she's overloaded. Modern women are emotionally overstimulated and spiritually undernourished. They're bombarded with messages about empowerment, but starved of real intimacy. So when something feels real, it terrifies them. And the instinct is to vanish before vulnerability exposes their fear. Here's the paradox. The stronger your emotional energy, the more likely she is to ghost. Not because she doesn't want you, but because your intensity mirrors what she's running from. It exposes her own emotional inconsistency. Ghosting is not random. It's a defense mechanism. It's not that she doesn't care, it's that she doesn't want to feel too much. And the irony is brutal. The more emotionally present you are, the more she may pull away, not because of you, but because of what presence demands from her: honesty, accountability, and courage. In her silence, she's hiding from herself. But for you, her silence becomes the teacher. It teaches you to see through illusions, to separate affection from authenticity, and to value communication as the true measure of connection. Because once you understand why she ghosts, you stop blaming yourself. You stop chasing closure, the hidden power dynamics at play. If you want to understand ghosting, you must look beyond emotion and you must study power. Modern dating is not about love. It's about leverage. It's a silent negotiation between two people trying to avoid vulnerability while still craving validation. Women today are not ghosting out of indifference alone. They're ghosting to retain power in a system that constantly tells them they'll lose it if they care too much. Everywhere she looks, she's told, don't text first, don't fall too fast, don't let him think he's won. And so she guards her heart not with honesty, but with disappearance. This is the twisted irony of empowerment culture. It tells women to be strong by being detached, to protect their hearts by closing them, to find freedom by escaping connection. But the cost of this freedom is intimacy, because you cannot love and control at the same time. And yet, that's exactly what the modern dating game encourages: control over connection. In her subconscious mind, power equals safety. When she feels emotionally dependent, she feels exposed. When she senses you're gaining influence over her emotions, She reclaims control the only way she knows, by pulling away, by disappearing before she's the one left behind. And here's the cruel part. The very behavior that makes her feel powerful in the moment often leaves her emptier afterward, because ghosting doesn't erase the emotional bond. It only postpones the emotional reckoning. She'll still think of you. She'll still feel the echo of what was unsaid, but she'll convince herself it's strength. It's not strength. It's self-deception. Modern dating has become a power arena. Social media amplifies ego. Dating apps inflate self-worth artificially. Every match becomes a small dopamine hit that says, I am wanted, I am valuable, and this illusion of abundance becomes addictive. So when one man demands consistency or emotional presence, she feels resistance, because that means narrowing down her options. And modern psychology has wired her to equate options with freedom. Men, on the other hand, often operate from scarcity. They attach meaning to connection faster because men value what they invest in. A man's effort builds attachment. A woman's attention builds curiosity. When her curiosity fades, she exits because she never built attachment in the first place. Ghosting, therefore, becomes the shortcut to dominance. It's a move that leaves the man questioning himself while she remains the silent judge. Her silence becomes control. Her absence becomes her statement. And here's the truth no one admits. Even if she misses you, she'll stay silent, because reaching out means surrendering power. Modern dating has made emotional detachment a strategy, not a symptom. But deep down, both genders are losing, because while she thinks she's winning by disappearing, she's actually teaching herself to distrust emotional safety. The female psychology behind the exit strategy. To decode the ghosting phenomenon, we must go deeper into the emotional architecture of the female psyche, beyond surface behavior and into subconscious motive. A woman doesn't ghost because she doesn't care. She ghosts because she doesn't know how to integrate care with fear. From a psychological perspective, women operate with dual impulses, the instinct for connection and the instinct for self-preservation. When those two collide, when intimacy triggers old wounds or uncertainties, she often chooses the latter. Ghosting is not born from apathy. It's born from anxiety. It's a fight or flight response of the emotional system. For many women, flight feels safer because confrontation requires self-awareness, and self-awareness demands courage, something few possess when emotions are raw. In her internal dialogue, ghosting sounds like, I don't want to hurt him, but I can't face him. I don't know how to explain what I feel, so I'll just leave. It's easier to disappear than to be misunderstood. Women are conditioned from early on to maintain social harmony, to avoid conflict, to keep things peaceful. So when emotions escalate, they retreat rather than engage. They choose emotional invisibility as a form of protection. But here's what makes ghosting unique in feminine psychology. It's not just avoidance. It's emotional purification. She disappears to reset her energy, to erase emotional noise. Ghosting gives her space to reconstruct the narrative in her head, one where she is the chooser, not the abandoned. Because in every woman's subconscious, there's a deep fear of being the one left behind. By leaving first, she reclaims control of that fear. Ghosting also allows her to preserve her self-image. If she ends things verbally, she must face the guilt of being the bad one. But if she says nothing, she can tell herself it just faded. Silence becomes her psychological shield against remorse. This mechanism is further reinforced by modern validation loops. Every time she posts something online and gets likes or attention, her brain releases dopamine that numbs the discomfort of loss. In other words, the internet helps her escape emotional consequences. The same phone she uses to connect becomes the tool she uses to disappear. What men misinterpret and the cost. When a woman ghosts you, your mind goes into overdrive. You start analyzing everything you said, every message you sent, every silence you didn't fill. You start believing it was your fault, that you weren't enough, that you made a mistake, that you could have fixed it. But the truth is, ghosting rarely reflects your worth. It reflects her capacity to handle emotional confrontation. And that's something beyond your control. Most men misinterpret ghosting through the lens of logic. But ghosting isn't logical. It's emotional self-preservation disguised as apathy. So when you chase after clarity, you're not seeking answers, you're seeking reassurance. And that's exactly what you'll never get from someone who's already decided to disappear. The biggest mistake men make is trying to reopen a door that was never closed. It was abandoned. She didn't need more words. She needed emotional distance. And when you chase her, you reinforce her reason for leaving. You confirm that you depend on her reaction to define your peace. The cost of misinterpretation is masculine energy drain. Every unanswered message chips away at your confidence. Every mental replay of what went wrong weakens your focus, and every attempt to get closure hands your power back to someone who already took it. But when you stop seeking answers and start studying behavior, everything changes. Because ghosting is clarity, silence is communication. It tells you everything about her maturity, her fear, and her readiness for connection. You just have to stop romanticizing her potential and start respecting her reality. Women test men emotionally, even unconsciously. Ghosting, in its twisted form, is the final test. It asks, will you break or will you rise? Will you beg for validation or will you choose dignity? The men who rise from ghosting are the ones who stop reacting and start reflecting. They see that her silence wasn't rejection, it was revelation. It revealed who she truly was, not who she pretended to be. The strategy shift for men who want to stay. The modern man cannot survive the dating jungle with an outdated emotional compass. He must evolve, not into someone colder, but into someone calmer. Because in this era of ghosting, the man who reacts loses. The man who responds rises. You can't control whether a woman disappears, but you can control what version of yourself her disappearance awakens. If it makes you bitter, she still owns space inside you. If it makes you focused, you've already won. The shift that must happen in men is spiritual. Ghosting has forced men to confront one truth. Attachment without purpose leads to pain. Most men pursue connection to feel complete. They see a woman's attention as a form of validation. But that dependency gives her unspoken power. The power to destabilize your emotions with silence. So the new masculine strategy isn't to chase women. It's to build energy so magnetic that women can sense stability in your absence. You must become emotionally self-sufficient. Your confidence must come from self-creation, not external confirmation. This begins with your inner frame, the invisible foundation that dictates how you move through the world. Frame is the psychological armor that keeps your emotions intact when external events, like ghosting, try to fracture your sense of control. When you live with purpose, your attention has gravity. When you lack it, your attention becomes noise. Women feel this difference immediately. They're drawn to men whose silence carries weight, not desperation. Because women test, consciously or not, for emotional leadership. If you crumble when she pulls away, you fail that test. If you remain centered, calm, productive, grounded, you pass without saying a word. The paradox is that by caring less about outcomes, you inspire deeper attraction. Because women don't fall for word, they fall for energy. And the rarest energy in 2025 is peace. Everyone is chaotic, reactive, overstimulated. The man who radiates composure becomes magnetic. When it's over, how to exit gracefully or reset. Every man faces a crossroads when a woman disappears. The road of reaction or the path of resurrection. Most men choose the first. They spiral, question, and wait for closure that never comes. But a few, the rare few, use that silence as transformation fuel. When she ghosts you, the story isn't over. It's just that your role in her story has ended, and your next chapter is about to begin. You can't control whether she returns, but you can decide whether you'll still be the same man if she does. Exiting gracefully begins with acceptance, not resignation, but realization. Realize that ghosting is her mirror. It reflects her emotional limits, not your value. Accept that you will never receive the apology you deserve, and you'll stop needing it, because peace is self-issued, not granted. You must also reframe the experience. Ghosting can either scar you or sharpen you. If you treat it as betrayal, it hardens you into cynicism. If you treat it as initiation, it awakens emotional mastery. It teaches patience, discernment, and control, qualities that shape unshakable men. Next, focus on resetting your energy. After ghosting, many men collapse into overthinking. They relive messages, moments, gestures, trying to decode what went wrong. But analysis is addiction in disguise. It keeps you emotionally connected to a ghost. To reset, you must detox your focus. Block her, not out of spite, but out of self-preservation. Stop checking her social media. Stop imagining her return. Every thought spent on her absence is a tax on your future. Redirect that energy into creation. When you build, you heal. When you learn, you evolve. When you focus on your mission, your mind reclaims authority over your emotions. Ghosting exposes your emotional reflexes. If you chase closure, you show neediness. If you withdraw in silence and level up, you show power. Because women may ignore your words, but they always sense your growth. If she returns later, and often they do, she will not recognize the same man. She'll sense your distance, your composure, your indifference. And that's when the balance shifts, because when you've truly moved on, you become the ghost. You disappear from her emotional control. You vanish from her validation loop. And in that moment, the energy she once withheld returns tenfold. But now, it's meaningless. The man who no longer chases shadows. Ghosting has become the emblem of modern love, silence dressed as strength. It's the perfect metaphor for a generation terrified of vulnerability, yet desperate for connection. Women ghost to feel powerful. Men suffer to learn power. But through that pain, men evolve. The man who survives ghosting without bitterness becomes rare, because he's no longer moved by absence. He's not hardened, but awakened. He understands that love isn't proven by attention. It's measured by presence. And if someone cannot communicate, they cannot connect. Modern dating may be rigged, chaotic, and filled with illusions, but truth still cuts through noise. You don't have to play games to win. You just have to stop playing theirs. In a world obsessed with reactions, be the stillness. In a world addicted to validation, be the source. In a world where people ghost to feel power, be the one who doesn't need to vanish to feel free. Because the highest form of masculine strength is composure. Calm in chaos, peace in confusion, dignity in detachment. You no longer chase closure because you've already closed the chapter within. You no longer chase love because you've become love, grounded, clear, unbothered. And from that state, the right woman, the one who values communication, accountability, and truth, will recognize you instantly. She won't disappear. She'll stay. Because the energy of a man who has mastered silence attracts women who respect honesty. So remember this. Every ghost is a teacher. Every silence is a sign. Every absence carves a space for something better. The man who learns from pain becomes untouchable. He doesn't fear loss because he has found himself. And when a man finds himself, no woman, no silence, no disappearance can ever break him again, because he no longer lives to be chosen. He lives to choose. And that, in a world of fleeting attention and fading, affection is the ultimate freedom.